Hey guys, back with another video. Just wanted to go over like one particular thing that I've really struggled with over the course of my life, and that's been forgiveness. I thought I had forgiven people, and asking, for information on forgiveness, like what does forgiveness look like, what does it feel like, nobody could really tell me. They just said whenever it no longer hurts when you think about it, that's whenever you have forgiven someone. But then I would see that person and I wouldn't want them to be part of my life, or I would avoid them at all costs, because it's like, oh no, you've already done me harm once and I'm not going to let you do it again. So it wasn't until probably a year ago that I found a video of a guy explaining forgiveness, because that's probably what kind of got me into YouTube, like actually looking up stuff on YouTube. I didn't realize how useful YouTube was. So in his video, he explains that forgiveness, which we've all heard, is for us, not for the other person. Because it's the other person that sleeps fine at night. It's us that has that unforgiveness and unease about ourselves. So he explains that whenever we don't forgive, or whenever we don't forgive, it's because we see ourselves as their victim. And as long as we hold a victim mentality, we're always going to be victimized. We're always going to have all of these issues come up, and we're going to hold these grudges because we still see ourselves as a victim, when in reality we are the creator of our own universe. So thinking about it, it set right with me. It was just like, okay, I can see how over the course of my life I have felt like I was a victim, like everyone that, especially in group settings, whenever I would be in a group setting, I seemed to be the one that was singled out or picked on. Even in like my adulthood, I have like a decade of management experience, and I noticed like I was the one that was expected to, I guess, surpass expectations. I was the one to like try to hold everything together and play by all the rules, even though no one else was around me, but yet I would always be the one that had the finger pointed at and judged. Whenever you're a manager, crew do what they do. It doesn't, especially if you're not looking. So it's just like, oh, well, you should have eyes all around you. You should do this, you should do that. And it was just like, I got out of management because the amount of stress that it put on my life, and it seemed like I wasn't very good at it, because I felt like I was a great worker, and if I could be judged on my own potential, then of course I would exceed expectation. But being judged off of someone else's decisions, like, that wasn't quite fair. So especially in the management area, it was easy to hold a grudge, because this person's little slip up ended up being a bitch out session for my boss to just go ham on me about all the things I needed to improve, just because one person ate something behind my back, or there was one incident where a crew person out of the drive-through window hit a blunt. Like, come on guys, don't do that. Not at your job. You want to be a pothead, that's fine, but be a pothead at home. Don't be a pothead while you're on the clock. And it baffled me how that was my fault whenever things were just so chaotic. So holding unforgiveness was something that I had really become accustomed to. My body started having, its effects, because so I found out that wherever, like, if you don't deal with an emotion, it basically just gets put in a jar and a cap put on it. So then it just gets stored, and then you have all this stored up energy that eventually has to release, and if you don't release it, then you're in trouble. So in his video, he was talking about how the forgiveness was for us. It wasn't for the other person, and how if whenever someone does us harm, to see them in the light of love and compassion. I'm not quite there yet, especially whenever something first happens, because I'm just like, what the fuck? You know, like, why the hell would you do that to somebody? Especially, like, if I've helped that person out and then they lash at me, it's just like, why did I waste all my time trying to help you? You know, like, this is really the way you're going to pay me back for something I didn't even have to do. You know, and that's something I've struggled with my whole life. Several times I have it seems like I've crossed oceans for people who wouldn't step over a creek for me. And letting go of all that resentment and that unforgiveness and that anger that I have towards them has been really hard. Another thing he had mentioned, though, is the ego. You know, and I've been learning a lot about the ego. I didn't realize the little voice that annoys me to no degree in my head is my ego. The one that's just like, oh, well, you've been cheated on before, so this person that you're with now, they might be cheating. Have you really checked all the signs? Have you double checked? You know, man, there might have been something you were missing. So this voice is just constantly in my head, not so much anymore, since I've realized it is what its name is, you know, and it has no authority, and it's not me. So that helped a whole lot. But before, it would just basically control my life. And the unforgiveness was like a huge thing that the ego just, for me, fed off of. Like, oh, this person's done screwed you over once. They done screwed you over twice. You know, first time, shame on you. Second time, and every time after that, shame on you. You know, it's a shame on me now because I was the one that just kept letting it happen. You know, and it's just, I said that a little backwards. Sorry about that. But it's just like, it's been alleviating to let go of some of the stored up anger and I guess unforgiveness that I've had, but it's also been hard because I've looked at these people with such a cold heart for so long that looking at them any other kind of way, like, I just don't know how to. And getting to a point where I can say to somebody who has made me feel like an inch tall that, okay, well, I still love you and I wish the best for you. You know, it's like, do you really wish the best for them, or are you just saying that? You know, and part of what I was told in Christianity was you just say it till you believe it. And basically that's the faking it till you make it. And that's something I'm not trying to do anymore. I'm trying to get to the root cause of my problems, not just cover up the symptoms, I guess you could say. Back to the bandage, you know, I have this wound that I just keep applying layers of tape to cover up the bodily fluids coming out. And obviously what I'm doing is not working, so trying something else, you know, it's just what has to be done. And I've noticed through every little step that I've taken, it seems like too, once I start something, especially whenever I'm working on myself, all hell breaks loose. And I'm just like, there's no time for me anymore. There's no time for me to be able to sit down and read anything. There's no time for me to be able to meditate. There's no time for me to do yoga. There's no time for me to make a menu to make sure that I'm feeding my family healthy enough for their bodies to function the way that they need to. So all of it is just kind of exhausting. And knowing that the eating habits, the sleeping habits, everything I am passing on to my children, you know, and eating hot dogs and hamburgers every night, or stopping by McDonald's and Burger King or Wendy's or wherever, you know, that's not going to cut it for the rest of their lives. They need to know how to cook. They need to know how to prepare food that will actually feed you, you know, your body, and give it what it needs, instead of all these processed things and all these additives that just keep being put to food. I've noticed too, through a healthier diet, you know, my kids really hated it at first. they were just like, oh my God, Mom, more vegetables? Like, really? You know we don't like this. Why can't we just go back to some corn dogs for a night? And it's just like, no, we're not doing corn dogs anymore. Say goodbye to hot dogs or any kind of hot dog looking thing. You know, if you're going to eat any type of meat, it's actually going to be meat instead of McDonald's hamburger patties or, you know, something that you pick out of the frozen section. So, through them going to the doctors, I know this past year, it's been about a year that I've been on this, that for the past year, none of us has really gotten sick. We seem to be a lot healthier. My children at first complained like crazy about it, like, oh my God, cooked carrots again, you know we hate cooked carrots. And I don't blame them. I do not like cooked carrots either. But I ate one, and now I can eat like a whole little handful. You know, it's been a whole year to get to a whole little handful of carrots, and y'all might be laughing at me, but you know, if you really don't like something, it's kind of hard to eat it. But after a while, your body starts craving the vitamins and the minerals that's in it. Like kale was something I could never do, and now I can eat a kale salad. I can eat spinach, you know, any kind of green leafy anything that was not lettuce. You could forget it. I wasn't going to put it in my mouth. So my children are eating spinach now, and I mean, that kind of, it makes me feel a little bit better about the changes that I've made. But you know, even me trying to do what's right for them, knowing that it's better for them, but in that moment, whenever they're like, oh my God, Mom, especially after I just sat on Pinterest trying to figure out how to cook spinach because I've never done it before, and trying to find a recipe that I think they might eat, or, you know, just trying to find these more plant-based meals or side dishes at least, so that they could, you know, they still get a little bit of what they wanted, but it's the healthier versions of what they wanted. And the majority of the food is plant-based, because my daughter decided, the 15-year-old, she decided that she wanted to be a vegetarian. And I'm allergic to dairy, so meat was tasting quite funny. And after cutting out the not having dairy and then cutting out meat, I went straight vegan, so I didn't even get to really experiment with the vegetarian side of it. But whenever I spend all this time trying to look for stuff for them to eat, or trying to prepare something that I feel like they might enjoy, and then they just kind of shit on it, it's just like, dude, come on now. You know? But in the moment, whenever they're saying all this stuff, and it seems like they're coming at me like, why do you keep doing this to us? You know, are you trying to be mean to us? And, you know, and I've explained to them like, no, I'm trying to help you. You know, and while it's not fair for me to just help myself, y'all are an extension of me, so I'm going to help you too. Whether you like it or not, you know, Mama says, and that's what happens. But whenever all that's going on, you know, the anger rises up in me, and I want to just snap and be like, y'all shut the fuck up and eat your fucking food, you know? I don't talk to my kids like that. They don't cuss at me, I don't cuss at them. I know they probably do cuss, but there is a rule: if you cuss, you're back to G-rated movies for a year. So that, in my opinion, it helps them understand you don't cuss around authority figures, you don't cuss around parents. You know, watch your language. Basically, be respectful and be aware of what you're saying. So, but in the moment, I'm just like, oh my God, like if I could be a cartoon, my face would be red, and there would be steam coming out of my ears, you know, and I'm not quite sure how to control that yet, or how to get rid of that, or whether it's something I need to experience and it wouldn't do any harm to anyone. Like, I don't know. I'm just, the whole onset of stuff happening. Sorry, my throat's getting dry and I have nothing to drink. The whole onset, whenever something happens, I'm having the issues where I'm trying to, like, I know the right thing to do, or the more mature thing to do, or the more spiritual thing to do, but I'm not having such a easy time implementing those actions in my life, basically. like the knowledge is there. I can see how it would benefit me better. The intentions are there, but the actions just aren't there yet. So hopefully within time they would get a lot better, and instead of automatically my mind going to judgment or to revenge or to just completely isolate myself from that person, hopefully I will be looking at them in a more loving and non-judgmental way instead of, what I have been doing. So y'all wish me luck. Hopefully that gets a lot better. I'll keep updating y'all about that. Have a good day.